Joining us by phone is a national security expert, Samantha Vinegrad. Samantha, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Don. How are you?
Good morning. So listen, Israel did not ask for permission, but and I do not believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, that this was in coordination with the Trump administration. I think the Trump administration, they were in talks with Iran. I think Benjamin Netanyahu may have said, you know what, I don't really want anyone to be in talks with Iran. You explain to me, tell me what you think this means and what happened.
Well, I think that there is a different set of scenarios here. It is very likely that Benjamin Netanyahu has been quietly telling President Trump for months that his patience was running short and that he would not indefinitely wait for nuclear negotiations to be prolonged. We know the nuclear negotiations have been dragging on. We know that Iran is playing a stalling game. And we know that it's to Iran's benefit to pretend to be involved in negotiations so that they can continue to advance their program. They now have more almost weapons grade uranium than at any point in their history, Don. They are closer to a weapon than ever before. Now, they haven't decided, according to U.S. intelligence, to actually go for a bomb. But if they did, it could be a matter of weeks until they had a weapon. Benjamin Netanyahu, I worked with him under the Obama administration, has been wanting to strike Iran's nuclear capabilities for decades. Now, with Iran so close to having a weapon, I think his patience ran out, and I think it is very likely. We almost know with certainty that the Trump administration knew that this was going to happen, even if they didn't directly participate. I don't think, Don, that they tried really hard to stop Benjamin Netanyahu. We give Israel a lot of security assistance. We could have tried to impose leverage on Israel not to strike, and I don't think that Trump played that card.
Yeah, so you don't think he played that card? Why do you say that?
I don't. I mean, Trump has been very focused on a military option for years. Both during his first term, he launched a military strike in Iran and assassinated General Qasem Soleimani with U.S. weapons. Israel struck Iran already a few weeks ago. And so even if Trump himself didn't use U.S. military assets to strike Iran, I think he's been very pro-military strikes, whereas historically, Democrats have preferred to engage in diplomacy. And so I don't think that Trump tried very hard to stop Netanyahu. Again, we give Israel a lot of security assistance. They use a lot of our weapons. If Trump was really opposed to this, I think he could have tried harder to stop Netanyahu.
Mm-hmm. Let's put up Donald Trump's statement. There's one I want to read it to Samantha again. This is the one that he's posted, and I think he also spoke to ABC News. But he is saying here that this is he called it exciting, I believe, to ABC News, and he's saying in his talks with Iran that he told them that the United States had the biggest and best weapons, and that it would get them, and that and that Israel also had access to those weapons. And he's saying this is a warning from the United States as well. Are we to believe that?
Well, the United States has something called a MOP in layman's terms. It is a huge bomb that is capable of destroying underground facilities. Israel has asked for access to that bunker bomb for a long time. Whether Israel actually used any of those weapons from the U.S., we don't know. What we do know is that Israel and the United States have significant ballistic missile capabilities, as well as, Don, significant covert capabilities. The strike last night wasn't just missiles or bombs. It also reportedly involved operations against nuclear scientists using covert action programs that were months in the making. So when we think about Israeli capabilities, it was both physical assets and covert action capabilities as well.
Yeah. So look, Samantha Vinegrad is not only a foreign policy security expert, a government expert, but she's also a mom. And I called her this morning and I said, can you please help me out? And she said, Don, I'm with my child on the beach. And I said, it doesn't matter. We're streaming now and people are used to it. Sam, my dogs bark during big breaking news all the time. It doesn't matter. So let your daughter do what you will. Yeah, it's not, you're a mom and that is what you're doing. So listen, so what then, how far and how much is this a setback for Iran?
I don't think we know that yet, Don. I think it is going to take several days to do a battlefield assessment. Certainly the loss of nuclear scientists will set back the program. What we don't yet know is whether Israel successfully destroyed Iranian nuclear stockpiles in terms of weapons-grade uranium, and how many centrifuges, those are the assets that actually create the enriched uranium. We don't yet know. And once we do, I hope you'll have me back on the show and I can let you know whether this delayed the weaponization program at all, but it's still too early to tell.
Yeah. Real quickly, I'm going to let you go and deal with your daughter because I know that is your number one priority. But put up the ABC thing again. Donald Trump is saying that there is more to come. This is the ABC News. He spoke to them this morning, I'm sure by telephone because he didn't do an interview. But he says, Trump tells ABC Israel strikes on Iran excellent and warns of more to come. Let's scroll down so I can read a little bit more here. In the wake of this series of airstrikes by Israel on Iran's nuclear sites, potentially pushing the Middle East to the brink of an all-out conflict, President Donald Trump told ABC News he thought the attacks had been excellent and suggested there was more to come. Just that first paragraph there. Do you think potentially this pushes the Middle East to the brink of an all-out conflict? And meaning, is there more to come?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Special Envoy Steve Witkoff now has a direct channel with Iran. He's involved in nuclear negotiations, and almost certainly he is trying to tell the Iranians, don't escalate more. Do something tit for tat, but don't up the ante. However, I would imagine here in the homeland, we are taking precautions to increase security at, for example, U.S. military installations in case Iran decides to retaliate here in the U.S. We've drawn down personnel at military installations across the Middle East and diplomatic facilities. And so the question is whether the Iranians actually want to listen to the U.S. and think that there's any reward from the United States in the form of sanctions relief, for example, if they don't escalate further. But Iran will respond, just like they did the last time. The question is whether they do something tit for tat or try to up the ante. I will note that Iranian capabilities have been degraded on by Israel. So their ability to actually harm Israel is probably less significant and less large than it was several months ago because of Israeli strikes against Iran.
Yeah, they're in a more vulnerable position right now. Listen, just real quickly, if you can put this in the context of what's happening, because I said all of these things are connected. Sam, you have the protesters right out on the streets. You've got Donald Trump in conflict with California, i.e., the National Guard and all of that. Then you have this strike in Iran, and then you have a United States senator being shoved to the ground and asking for questions. This is it's really a chaotic time, and people who are watching this, mainly Americans, are going to want to know, what does this mean for me, especially something that's happening in the Middle East, Iran and Israel. That scares Americans a lot about a conflict escalating and possibly affecting America.
Well, I think certainly the threat in the homeland is heightened in terms of individuals directed or inspired by Iran to strike the United States. Iran has what we call proxies, individuals that are loosely affiliated with Iran, all around the world and here in the homeland. So there is certainly an escalated threat from Iranian proxies and individuals inspired by Iran to act out against Americans. That is a very real threat. At the same time, Don, we know that Donald Trump has decimated the National Security Council at the White House and has implemented significant cuts to the national security apparatus more broadly. Homeland Security, where I used to work, the intelligence community, Defense Department, State Department, and more. That significantly inhibits our ability to protect Americans, to protect the homeland, and to effectively de-escalate the crisis. If we don't have professional diplomats or national security professionals, how are we going to effectively communicate to Iran, hey, don't strike back too hard, or hey, here's an off-ramp? So I'm worried that the national security apparatus is so handicapped that we're just not prepared to deal with this moment.
Samantha Vinegrad is a very dear friend. She is a former American government official, presently a foreign policy commentator, served as the Assistant Secretary of Counterterrorism, Threat Prevention, and Law Enforcement Policy at the Department of Homeland Security from 2021 to 2023, and frequently appeared with me and helped me out on CNN.
I miss it, Don. I miss it.
I know. I miss you as well. Say hi to the boo-boo there and go back and enjoy your daughter.
Thanks,
and I will see you soon. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and your family to join us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so there you have it. Samantha Vinegrad, one of the smartest people I know.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.